Hello and welcome to happilyeducated.com. So my last post was about childbirth, which was challenging, but learning to take care of my baby during those first few weeks was much, much harder. It would have been difficult even if I'd been in optimal physical condition, but my body was quite roughed up from giving birth. And I was so tired for those first few days there that I literally couldn't speak coherently. And it took a good 6 weeks or so that I could actually walk normally again. So if I hadn't had Jeff around to help me, I do not know how I would have possibly managed. He did everything. He was, running all our errands, cooking, cleaning, walking the dog. I was constantly asking him to fetch me things, and I don't think I could have gotten Dax to his first 2 appointments with the pediatrician without Jeff's help because I simply couldn't have carried the car seat to and from the car. So the learning curve for new parents is quite steep. I've learned a ton about a million different things since Dax was born. And since there's really too much to talk about in this one post, I'm going to limit myself to talking about the one most important thing that I've learned, which is that our government needs to do more to support the parents of newborn children. So yes, this post is going to be political, and I apologize for that. But it is something that I now feel very strongly about, for good reason. So new parents just need help. I knew it was going to be a challenge to have a baby and make that transition into parenthood, but I really had no idea how challenging. And I think it's the kind of thing that you can't really understand unless you've actually done it yourself, which is why it's such a problem that the majority of our policymakers are wealthy older men. Even if they are parents, they probably had the means to pay for help when their children were born and or had a spouse who could stay at home full time. And most people don't have that. Most people have to go to work every day to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. So yeah, I think the people who are making the decisions should be able to relate to the people that they're making the decisions for. That would be great. And according to the Huffington Post, the United States is the only industrialized nation that doesn't mandate paid maternity leave for mothers of newborn children. And there are many countries that do far more than that. For example, in Norway and Sweden, the Social Security programs provide over a year's worth of paid leave for new parents, which can be shared between the mother and father. And considering that there's, ample evidence out there that countries with more generous parental leave policies have better outcomes for both the children and the parents, it just makes sense to me that we should maybe try that out ourselves. And also, perhaps that would mean our taxes would be a little bit higher, but so be it, really, if everyone's going to be healthier. And that kind of thing could save money, really, for the taxpayers in the long run. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, well, go look it up. Now that I'm a parent, I don't have time, really, to be searching around for articles to cite for my blog posts. Sorry for that. But especially, when I know that what I'm saying is true, I'm just going to say it. I now understand that just breastfeeding is a full-time job, and I can completely understand why so many mothers in the United States don't do it, because it's just not practical if you're working full-time. And again, considering that babies tend to be healthiest when, 1, they are exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of their lives, and 2, they have ample opportunity to develop a secure attachment to their primary caregivers, it just makes sense that we should do more to support that kind of thing. Now, I'm very lucky in many ways. I have a flexible job, and I have a husband who can support me both financially and emotionally. But money's pretty tight around here. We are definitely not living a life of luxury. And as someone who works multiple jobs, all of which pay by the hour, I, of course, didn't get any paid maternity leave at all, which would have been super helpful because I was definitely in no shape to go back to work right away. Just for both my physical and my mental health, I needed some time off, without a doubt. Now, I absolutely love being a mom so far. Even at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm delighted to spend time with my baby. But what I find stressful is trying to be a mother, a doctoral student, a teacher, and a wife all at the same time. And that doesn't even include my, more informal or optional roles, such as blogger, runner, reader, and someone who attempts to be an informed citizen. I mean, just recording this blog post, this is literally at least the 25th time that I've tried to do it. But it's just really hard to get anything done with a baby around. So, fortunately, I won't be a doctoral student for very much longer. But even once that obligation is out of the way, I'm not so confident in my ability to balance the rest of my life with motherhood. I feel like I'm just not particularly good at anything when I'm trying to do everything all at the same time. So I have no idea how single mothers or low-income families or mothers who, for whatever reason, have to go back to work right away, especially if they have physically taxing jobs, how they can possibly manage. When you think about it, it makes sense that some parents go crazy and do horrible things like shake their babies. It's just that stressful and overwhelming, I guess, is really the right word. So, to prevent horrible things like that from happening, don't you think we could do a little more to help parents out? And yes, your taxes might be higher, but live with it. So anyway, on that cheerful note, I leave you. I promise that my next post will not be in any way political. And until then, happy learning.